Hey, what's up, man? This is Nemo. And as you can see by the lovely graphics right here, this is episode 1 of Booze Reviews with Nemo. I will preface this video with this. I am in no way, shape, or form a professional alcohol reviewer. I just know what I like, and I like to drink. So why not review some of the things I drink? Booze Reviews with Nemo, episode 1, Jim Beam Honey. Look at that beautiful picture. That's what I'm drinking. But I'm not going to use traditional glass. Nope. For my audience, the Cuckbusters mug will, for all flavored liquors, such as the honey bourbons or whiskeys or what have you, I will be using the Cuckbusters mug because this will follow a different format. Most of my reviews, if I'm talking about liquor, on the ones I do, I have some criteria. I'll make 3 drinks. Depending on the tiers, I will have neat or on the rocks. Usually with the the top bottom shelf and upper bottom shelf, I'll probably do on the rocks. We're talking mid shelf, middle shelf, lower top shelf, or top shelf, which I probably will never do because I don't have that kind of money, will be neat. Maybe with a splash of water, depending on how the bourbon opens. Because let's face it, I'm gonna be doing mostly Kentucky bourbon here. I will also do the bourbon and Coke as the number 2 drink. Probably not for the upper the upper top, the lower top shelf, just because I think that would really be ruining the bourbon. And the third drink will be an old fashioned, a classic whiskey or bourbon cocktail. And I could even do the lower top shelf in an old fashioned, depending on what that is. Now, what do I mean on the shelves? And that's the last thing I'm really going to try to explain before hopping into the review proper about the Jim Beam Honey. Bottom shelf for me. That is your Heaven Hills, your Canadian clubs, your very old Bartons, your Old Crow, even though that's almost the upper bottom shelf to me. Those are the bottom shelves. Your upper bottom shelves, that's going to be your Evan Williams black label usually, your early times, your ancient age, things of that ilk. They're still value brands, but they're a little bit above the bottom shelf offerings, right? Now your middle tiers, that's going to be your Jim Beams, your Jack Daniels, let's see, your Old Foresters, even to an extent Buffalo Trace, although I think that almost, even without the price, that's almost a lower top shelf for me. Your lower top shelf, that's going to be your Maker's Marks. That's going to be like your Gentleman Jacks. Your more higher end, like a Jim Beam, like a Bottled in Bond, perhaps. And definitely Woodford Reserve is the my golden standard. I would probably even put Wild Turkey on the lower top shelf, even though the price, but I think the quality speaks for itself. Your top shelf is going to be reserved for the shit that I can't afford, your Pappy Van Winkles and all of that. Basically, if it's over $70, it's on the top shelf for me. On the top shelf. Another lower top shelf would be like your Bullets. Anyway, that's the shelf system for my booze reviews. Now, as far as the ratings are going to go, we're just going to go simple 0 to 5 scale. 5 highly recommended, 4 is a strong recommendation. The 3 is just it's drinkable, and it's good. You can't really go wrong, but it's nothing to write home about. Your 2 is you could drink it, but you're only really going to use it as a mixer. You're only going to want it. You're only really going to want it in a and when you get super drunk and you don't want to waste your money on the more expensive stuff, or you just want to, cheap, easy Jack and Coke, bourbon and Coke. Sorry, let's not get into me and Jack Daniels. Anyway, and one is just if you're desperate, and zero is just pour it down the drain. It's not even worth getting drunk over. There we go. There's the point system. There's the shelf system. Now let's get into the review proper on Jim Beam Honey. Jim Beam, not one of my favorite bourbons. I'm just going to go right out there and say it. I don't really care for Jim Beam. The taste to me is, I would choose Early Times over Jim Beam. That might be sacrilegious. That's me. I don't really particularly care for Jim Beam. I also don't care for Jack Daniels. So, but if I had to choose, I'd probably go a little bit more towards Jim Beam, just because Kentucky bourbon. Come on, you gotta be good. Gotta represent the local thing, right? So Jim Beam Honey, pretty inexpensive here. In Loserville, you can get a fifth of it for about $13, maybe 12 if you're lucky. You can catch it on sale for 10. I got a full a handle, a half gallon of it for $22 at the Total Wine and More, the gigantic liquor store. I love it. So it's very reasonably priced. It's almost upper bottom shelf priced, to tell you the truth. I mean, I would pay about that for. I don't know. I don't know. I don't really know now. No, Early Times is a couple bucks cheaper. So no, it's still definitely a mid shelf, middle of the shelf kind of booze. I tasted this after I tasted my favorite honey whiskey, which is goddamn Jack Daniel's Tennessee Honey. I love that stuff. It's amazing. I've also had the Evan Williams Honey, which is also very good. I like Evan Williams. It's a very good upper bottom shelf bourbon. And we can get to that in another review. But we're here to talk about what's in this Cockbusters mug. And that is Jim Beam Honey. It is 35% alcohol by volume, so it's 70 proof. And let's give it a little swig. I'm just gonna say I'm not qualified to tell you anything about how it smells, the bouquet, any of that fancy shit. But I'm gonna tell you, when you stick your nose in this cup, you get a little of the Jim Beam kind of smell. But it's mostly a honey. It's mostly the honey liqueur or whatever honey flavoring they're putting in this that you smell. And let's bottoms up. Cockbusters. Right on the palate is, you're assaulted with honey. You can kind of taste a little oak in there. You can taste a little vanilla. But the Jim Beam taste, the bourbon taste is very, very, very minimal, and it gets lost. It gets lost in the honey. There's a slight astringency, a slight alcohol astringency to it, but still mostly the honey takes hold. And if you like honey, if you like that sweet taste of honey, you will really get a kick out of this. You'll really enjoy it. It'll get you up, and you'll have a good time. You will have a good time. For me, the selling point of this is the price. Now you can get the Evan Williams honey for a bit cheaper. I may actually, if I'm going to go the cheap route, would probably prefer the Evan Williams over the Jim Beam, just because I get a little bit more honey, bourbon taste out of the Evan Williams. But the honey flavors are similar. It's just the Evan Williams honey is a little less assaulting on you. But all in all, for the price, if you like these flavored bourbons, I've also had the Jim Beam Kentucky Fire, and it's excellent. Excellent. And it and the Jack Daniel's Tennessee Fire are pretty similar. Um, they're not miles apart like the Tennessee Honey and the Jim Beam Honey. Tennessee Honey would win hands down. Obviously, I will do a review on it, but I don't have any of it. Last time I bought a half gallon of it was gone within like a week and a half. I mean, that stuff I love it. I love it. I just fucking love it, gentlemen. But as far as the rating on the Jim Beam Honey goes, I would give it a 3. It's a solid. It's a solid honey bourbon. There's nothing real special about it. But it's not bad. Out of all the honey ones that I've tried, it is my least favorite. I will say it's my least favorite. In order of preference, it would be the Jack Daniel's Tennessee Honey, the Wild Turkey American Honey, which is excellent. I need to get some more of that, and I'll do a review on it. Then the Evan Williams Honey, and then the Jim Beam Honey. So it's at the bottom of that list, but it's still a solid 3. If you're looking for a cheap honey bourbon, I would go for it. It's it or the Evan Williams. You can't go wrong. They're both about similar price. And, it's good drinking bourbon. I mean, I would enjoy. I don't particularly like this one neat. I like it on the rocks. I like the chilled. I like it chilled. I think it's smooth. It's not super offensive. It doesn't go down harshly. It's just nothing special, guys. I should have picked a better one for the first review, but hey, I think it went pretty well. So, raise your glasses if you're using an actual glass, like I should be. But it's just, that's good bourbon. You make that honey bourbon? That's some cup of bourbon. Next time, guys, this has been Nemo. Booze Reviews with Nemo, episode 1 in the bank. Jim Beam Honey, a solid 3. If you're into it, if you like Kentucky bourbon, if you like Jim Beam, go out and buy it. And that's all I have to say. So cheers, guys. Cheers. And cheers.